How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Baseball Dynasty podcast. I'm your host, Keith DeMolder. We have another guest from the league on our pod today. It is none other than DC's finest, Nate Breckenridge. Nate, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate the opportunity. Um, yeah, loving being in the league so far. Getting to talk ball, going to games, living life.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. First time meeting Nate, much like first time we see Joey on the pod. It was just kind of a weird thing. It's like I've seen this person's name and number flash on my phone, but I don't know who they are. So great to finally put a face to the name. And unfortunately, a big win for the Dodgers for all of us Padres fan yesterday. You were at the game, Dodgers Nats in DC, and Miles Michaelis. I don't understand how he still has a job in this league.
He put up the double double yesterday. 11 hits, 11 earned. That was pretty tough. I mean, the Nats jumped out to a 3-0 lead. That CJ Abrams bomb was huge. It hit right underneath me. No, we had a big crew out there yesterday, probably 10 people. It was 80 degrees here in DC. That's kind of unheard of for early April. Tons of Dodgers blue. Uh, so I'm going to the game tomorrow actually as well. The today's like Japanese Heritage Night at the Nats game. Unfortunately, I had a good buddy in DC who his mom was from Japan, and last year I got to go to the Nats game like with the Japanese embassy. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do that this year because he moved back to SoCal.
Ah.
But yesterday, yeah, it was. I mean, it was Shohei, Kyle Tucker, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman all went yard. Shohei and Mookie in the same inning. That was a ton of fun to see. But Miles Michaelis, yeah, he was atrocious. It was horrible. And then it was they had brought in just guys I had never heard of, or just guys that are just going to eat innings and ride it out to the end. But it was pretty bad. So Teoscar Hernandez had a good day, went 3 for 4 with a double.
That's right.
He's been kind of slow, so I was really happy to see that. I mean, just on my team alone, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Teo, they all had fairly good days. Max Muncy, ever since he's gotten those glasses, man, it's been pretty cool to watch. Great eye. Um, but yeah, yesterday was a ton of fun. Just from a baseball fan perspective, I'm not a huge Nats fan, but there was a ton of energy out there. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you live in a different city that you can't really go to your home team's games,
Yeah,
like in terms of your favorite team. But maybe when they come to town or even watching, being in the league, it helps because if I lived in Seattle, maybe I'd watch one of my guys play. Like,
right.
oh, I don't really care about like I don't even know what team, like the Cardinals, but I would watch because I had Wilson Contreras sort of thing. So.
Yeah, exactly. So
I got you. I got you. Now, speaking of, we'll get to your team in a little bit because we do want to go down the roster. But I guess first week of the season is now officially over. We'll have this is our second week matchup of the league. But just curious of your first week of the season thoughts, like anything that has surprised you. I mean, I know you're a Royals fan by trade, right? So,
right.
yeah, curious of just your general MLB thoughts.
Yeah. Speaking of the Royals, I think that there's some good energy there. Seth Lugo's first start wasn't amazing. Noah Cameron looked pretty good though. Cole Reagan's kind of got beat up in the first start as well. But I love the rotation that they have. Obviously, Carter Jensen is crazy exciting. And I think they have a lot more life than they did last year. It feels a lot similar to 2024 with a good rotation, good young guys. Michael Garcia, obviously amazing in the WBC. I mean, all those guys. If you didn't, I mean, all the memes, right? If you didn't watch the Royals all last year, the last 2 years, just based off the WBC, it'd be like, wow, these guys are winning the World Series. This is gonna be insane. But no, I am excited, for the Royals again this year. I I mean, the Tigers obviously are super good. I think they'll have a fighting chance though, and not so much as the Royals of yesteryear. Actually, starting to be competitive, which is awesome. The actual week one, I mean, I tried to watch as many games as I could. The Nats, made huge headlines, huge news just here in DC. Because they played a really good series against the Cubs. Joey Weimer. I mean, no one had any idea that was going to happen. James Wood obviously not in a position where he wants to be right now. Hometown kid, raised from Rockville. But I was really impressed with a couple of my guys too. Landon Roop, he pitched really well against the Padres. I was pretty scared about starting him, but then I was like, this guy is just kind of sitting here waiting for someone to take him, and he had a really good game. Um, I Other guys from my team too. Casey Mize, that splitter in that game he played a couple nights ago was electric. Um, and so other guys that I like watch their full game, their first starts. Brian Wu, one of my favorite players. He's amazing, great golfer too. That was really impressive. Um, Yankees getting off to a fast start like they always do in the spring. Um, I have a good buddy out here that's a huge Red Sox fan. He's about ready to jump off a bridge. Uh, but no, I've been kind of where I thought things were going to go is kind of where they're landing. Um, Impressed. I go to a couple Royal, Orioles games every year. Gunnar Henderson usually, well, I guess last year I thought of him as fairly apathetic. He seemed to have a little bit more life, a little bit more energy. Impressed by that too. So, yeah, I think it's kind of falling where I think it's going to at this time. So,
Now, you mentioned the Royals a little bit. What's going on with their ability to set alarms these days? I mean, Carter Jensen oversleeping the other day. I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah, I that was super weird. It was like I don't know. I think that's just him being a young guy, and I don't know. Somebody should have accountability for that. Like you know, wake him up, Bobby. What are we doing? Wake him up, Salvi. Be this leader, be this teacher. Um, I think they are going to work that out of the system pretty quickly. So,
yeah, I mean, hey, we've all been there. We've all been there, but yeah, unfortunate that it has to happen the day before a game, or the morning of a game, sort of thing. But
yeah. So I know the Royals had a good turnout at their opening day too. I went to like 4 or 5 consecutive opening days when I lived there. Obviously, a ton of fun. But they had like 30,000, 35,000. It'll go back down to 10,000 after the opening series. But yeah, I'm really excited for the Royals. I think they're gonna have an awesome year. Um, Vinny obviously did amazing in the WBC. He's a dog. And has kind of turned himself into a team leader as well. Kind of taking that role. So Bobby a little bit slow right now. I want to see him take as many bases as he can. Obviously, he's an amazing hitter, really good plate discipline. I want to see him being more aggressive on the base pass, though. He does steal bags. I just want to see it at a higher clip where I know he can be.
yeah, the thing about the Royals is their rotation is going to be like one of the best in the league.
Right.
They kind of remind me. It's a lot of these teams like Guardians a little bit. I mean, the Mariners come to mind. I mean, the Mariners rotation is nasty.
Yeah.
But just these teams that have amazing rotations and pretty good bullpens and just cannot back it up offensively always. I mean, Mariners last year, yeah, they did have
Yeah.
good pieces, but I don't know that Royals outfield. Obviously, Kaggs is a dog, but Kyle Isbell. I mean,
Yeah.
we're
I
now
mean,
Lane Thomas.
Kyle Isbell has been, for the first week has been really, really impressive. He
Right.
obviously not going to be able to keep that up. I mean, he hit 4 home runs last year. He's already got 2 this year. So he's already hit his median. But yeah, I that obviously he won't be able to do that anymore. But yeah, Caglione, they're giving away this awesome bobblehead this year. He's awesome. But yeah, I don't really. It sucks when you have, especially Noah Cameron, like kind of a hometown guy, got his first couple starts last year, cut his teeth a little bit, and then yeah, we just can't in any type of way support them or in any type of way provide any type of run support, and it's super frustrating. But I think it starts with the 2 hole, the shortstop. It starts with Bobby.
Yeah.
So once he can start getting heating up, I think that's when we get into the boys are playing some ball. Their mantra that they had all 2024. So
Yeah, as a fellow Michael Waka and Cameron owner and lover, I know very well how little run
yeah,
support they get during their starts, and that is super frustrating. They'll have like a loss, they allow maybe 2 runs, and it's a 2-1 loss because they only
yeah,
scored one.
yeah. So. But the Royals are coming out here in June. I forced my ticket rep as a contract stipulation for my partial season tickets to give me batting practice in June. So that'll be pretty cool. Me and a bunch of 7th graders down there trying to get Bobby's autograph. But That'll be awesome.
There you go. There you go. Love to hear it. So yeah, first week of the season, yeah, first week and a half, I guess you could say, is finally over. We're almost. I mean, we're recording this on a Saturday.
Yeah,
Sunday coming, we're in matchup number two. Just wanted to talk a little bit more about your team. And right now, you're up on Joey, which is no surprise to anybody. But
sure.
yeah, I just wanted to ask, I guess, going into the season, your thoughts. We could get into the first year player draft here in a sec, but yeah, just kind of your thoughts on the offseason and how things have been going for you thus far.
Yeah, so I don't think it's been going amazing, especially last year, but I have a lot of confidence. I mean, Randy Rosarena has had a good first week and a half. He was a guy that did essentially nothing for me last year. He had a really down year, but I'm thinking he started to come into his own. In that Mariners lineup, he's been impressive to me thus far. Willie Abreu, I mean, he's obviously had he's been I had Trevor Story. He's hitting out Bencho until the time being because he's been ass. But Willie Abreu has been awesome. But kind of my main focus thus far has been my pitching rotation. I think that pickup from Roop was great. Obviously, he had that good start. Casey Mize, Jack Leiter had a really good start against the Orioles. That's kind of where I'm putting my lot of energy in there. Is that pitching rotation? Garrett Cole, end of May, Zach Wheeler, mid April. So I think once I get those guys back, it'll really start trickling in if Casey Mize and Jack Leiter can. Jack Leiter's got this 98, 99 mile an hour fastball. If he can keep that up and he's really developing that curveball, I think I'll be in a good position there. So where I'm sitting at is I'm having confidence for that pitching rotation. I know I don't really have some of these huge names, but I do think that the guys like Jack Leiter, like Casey Mize, who are these 3, 4, 5 guys can supply me with some of that energy. Mackenzie Gore has his first two starts he had no decision yesterday, but he's been good. He was my guy here in DC for 2 years,
Right.
and you know when he did get traded, I mean, I was kind of preaching that all year last year. As we can get stuff for him. He can instead of being all the pressure on his shoulders to be this ace to get the win when the Nationals have lost 6 in a row. Instead being this guy that can settle in and not have all the weight of a franchise on his shoulders. And we've already seen that with his 2 starts with the Rangers. He's pitched really well, getting a ton of Ks, like 12 lifts yesterday. That's been impressive. So it kind of my energy right now is focusing on that starting rotation. I do think my team has talent hitter wise. I do think it's a lot of boom or bust. But I do think when it does boom, Gino is the perfect example, right? Eugenio Suarez is the perfect example. He had that 4 for 4, 4 bombs last year, right? Like that's coming around the corner at any time. Ozzy Albies has been good too. One of my favorite players. He had a good day yesterday.
Right.
They just keep moving him around in the lineup frequently. He goes, I think he's batting third yesterday, then down to seventh. So I think if he can settle into some spot, that'll really help.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, you definitely have some guys offensively for sure. I mean, I think like position wise, having a guy like Suarez at third base is, I mean, I feel like there's no good third baseman out there on the waiver wire. So
Yeah.
having a guy like him at that position is solid. Yeah, definitely a lot of home run hitters. Rosarena, Adolis Garcia, Willie Abreu, who's been fantastic as we saw last year as well. Dylan Dingler hit a bomb yesterday. I think he hit
Yeah.
2 bombs, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, he just hit the one.
I think
Um,
he's good in the season, but yeah.
yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, and then Torkelson, he's whatever. I mean, he obviously is a great player. It's super slow. He gets so many Ks, but I'm hoping that if they do keep batting him fifth and sixth, those other guys get on base and he can start some actual run production. I don't know if it has something to do with his swing or his timing. Um, and they're not afraid to send him down either. But I still have a lot of faith in Torque. I really like him.
Yeah, I mean the guy was a Silver Spikes winner for a reason. Like last year,
Yeah,
hit 30, 31 home runs. He's hit that before. It's just a matter of him getting hot, and I feel like that's a big thing for not even just your team, but the league as well. I mean, we're seeing Mark right now with like abysmal
yeah,
metrics. Like it's the start of the year. Some guys are going to be really bad. Like Josh Naylor, he's not gonna be hit list for the whole year. It's just a matter of time
right.
before they
Or yeah,
they all
speaking
bounce
on
back.
Mark's team too, and Nick Kurtz, like it's been, I had no idea that was going to happen.
Right.
So
Curious offensively. I know folks have asked, but keeping Jerks in profile right now is curious of
yeah,
the thought process behind that.
yeah, there is no thought process on it. He's getting dropped after there. He's getting dropped after this.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's my uncle's a huge Braves fan, and I texted him right after that happened, and he was just completely beside himself. And I'm just like, how do you get popped twice? This is insane. I really liked watching him play. That's what an idiot. So, but he's getting dropped right after this. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Defensively, looking at your rotation, as you mentioned, like Roop has been solid, lighter. Even Martinez with an 11. All solid performances. Injuries hurt right now for sure, but the guys will be back this year. Just a matter of when. Bryce Elder, I thought was a really good catch. That was a guy that I looked at him like, Bryce Elder, he's gonna get double digits or he's gonna get like -8. It's one or the
right.
other with him. I like him. He's young. And at least right now, with the way the rotation is hurt, he'll get those opportunities. In terms of the relief pitching, just curious on like, do you like to carry more relievers than starters? Or are you just kind of waiting when it comes to like a guy like Luke Weaver or Maura Hone that if the closers get hurt, that they're kind of the next guy up?
That's kind of my idea with Luke Weaver. There is I don't trust in any type of way, you know, what's his name?
Devin
They're
Williams.
actually, yeah. I don't trust in any type of way that he's going to be healthy. I'm hoping that Luke Weaver can kind of come into that closer role. I don't have a traditional closer on my team in any way, but I'm hoping whenever Ben Joyce can figure out how to be healthy, that he can, he pumps gas. I mean, this dude's insane. I'm hoping he can settle into some type of closer role in with the Angels. Um, as far as strategy there goes, it's kind of been on a lower priority. I'm trying to get that starting rotation in some type of good health. But I have listened to the advice of previous episodes, and kind of what do we, not these guys aren't going to get crazy high K rates. These guys aren't going to get a ton of closes or saves. So I am taking that, definitely that advice into consideration, and something I'm trying to bolster too. So, but in actuality, trying to really hope that Luke Weaver can settle in. If Williams does go down. So that's kind of the thought behind it.
I got you. I got you. I appreciate you listening and watching as do the rest of the league for sure. I think yeah, there's nothing wrong with having like a setup guy in my opinion. Like I know Luke Weaver, he's a good pitcher. I mean, he's been scoreless this
Yeah,
season. Same thing with Morahone. I mean, last year he had 257 points. Like he
yeah,
was
with an all-star.
serviceable,
Yeah,
13 wins, like one of the most highest win totals for a Padres reliever in history or something like
yeah.
that. I know Brian King recently. There's been some chatter about him maybe being in line for some saves. So I think
Yeah, and that's why I picked him up, earlier this last week. Is when Abreu can't go, Josh Hader, they're saying mid-April. If that gets delayed or anything, I think he can be in some type of position to take that, to take that spot, or to be be in the conversation for it.
yeah, we can't all be Zane or Mark with all these like high end
I
Edwin
know.
Diaz's of the world or the
Yeah.
Ryan Helsleys of the world. We gotta pick up the scraps like a Clayton Beater or a Brian King.
Right.
So we're doing our best out here. But yeah, definitely is. It's hard trying to predict those closer roles because when you have a guy like Beater who on our team and he'll get a save one day and then he comes in the eighth the next day. So
Right.
managers are weird. I mean, especially down in Miami last year, that was so frustrating
Hmm.
owning what was his name? Fauché. Like the guy would get a save one day, maybe he would blow it, and then he'd be back in the eighth the next. And so it's really hard to predict, and especially how volatile some of those guys can be, as you saw with Ian Seymour going for I think -15 one day or something like that.
Yeah, that was insane. And like he was pretty good last year. And like he was a good pickup, I thought. And yeah, first outing doesn't record an out 5 earned. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, against a good Milwaukee team still, but like, what are we doing? Why are we letting him roll for 5 earned? This is insane to me. Um, I mean, Griffin Jacks, I think Mark had him like that's kind of why I was hesitant to do anything with him. That was like, it's been pretty terrible, over 3 games, but like I I don't know if I want to trust that at this time. So
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Looking at your team overall, a ton of minors hitters on your squad.
yeah,
Some big names. James Tibbs the third, a guy that has been raking right now for the Dodgers in
yeah,
AAA.
absolutely.
Bryce Eldridge, Ralphie Velasquez. We could talk about the first year player draft now, I guess, just in terms of some of your hitters that you drafted: Eli Willits, Jace Laviolette, Josh Hammond, Mitch Voigt. Curious on you going more hitter heavy in your draft this offseason.
Yeah, I guess in my opinion, they were just some of the more like big prominent names. The Jace Laviolette pick was specifically from you gassing him up in I think the third or fourth round. Um, but I guess the kind of strategy behind there is I want guys that are going to be, maybe not, backbone of franchises, but that can be, that are going to be, something 2027, 2028. Especially Eli Willits for the Nets. He's going to be amazing. He has everything. Um, Really, during the draft, I was just picking the biggest and best names that I could from that list. Wasn't really thinking hitter pitcher, but really just was the best names available at the time.
Right, right. Yeah, and I like the Gage Wood pick as well. I mean, a guy
Yeah.
that it's really good stuff. I mean, played at Arkansas, and we all remember him from his time in the college
Oh,
playoffs
yeah.
and how electric he was. I think with what I like about certain draft picks that are hitters, like that Eli Willis is going to get his opportunities. Like he plays
Yeah.
on a bad team and bad organization, he's going to get rushed along a little bit quicker than maybe with the Yankees with a guy like Jason Dominguez who would probably be starting for some other teams. I know you're a big KC guy. Curious on Josh Hammond, what you've heard about him.
I haven't heard a ton on him. He was like just on like Royals Twitter, like he was just a guy that I've just been hearing his name being bounced around. And I don't know a ton about him, but he was just a guy I listened to like some beat writers podcasts every week, and he was a guy that just 2 or 3 different times said Josh Hammond, look out for Josh Hammond. Don't know a whole lot about the guy, but I'm trusting my sources there. So
Yeah, honestly, like he was on our board. I'm not gonna lie. Like in the fourth, like he was a guy that I looked at. I'm like, might be a guy because he's or at least was a two-way player
yeah,
in high school, and I guess can throw mid-90s on his fastball, and I doubt he'll be a Shohei type, but
right.
same thing with Caglione, like a guy who has a great arm that's valuable anywhere you go. Like he's going to have a spot on a roster because he can throw the baseball. So whether that's the outfield, whether that's third or short, always good to have a good arm.
Crazy athletic too. I mean, that's what I'm hearing about Josh Hammond is he just crazy athletic, can play numerous positions on the infield, especially on the left side. Yeah, and has this crazy arm that they can put him in, slot him in anywhere, and be able to produce and be able to show that athleticism, not just in one single position, but anywhere that they. I'm not saying a full utility player, but anywhere that he would need to be slotted in.
I noticed you also picked up Walker Yannick, who is another one of those young kids who actually was on some people's draft boards. I think that was like a free agent signing for you. Curious on terms of your minors guys. I know Bryce Eldridge is knocking on the door, but anyone you're most excited about in your minors?
Yeah, I mean, most excited about I do like Bryce Eldridge. I Last year obviously I was super excited about Hassan Kim. That was kind of a letdown for me. I mean, I think at this time it's Gage Wood. I need him to soar as high as he absolutely can. He's probably at the absolute top of my list. Um, and yeah, he's probably the guy I'm looking forward to most, continuing to follow and seeing his progression. Mitch Voigt, this kid out of Michigan, he's really fast, has a really good glove. I think he can make some strides too. I watched him a little bit when he was in college. Um, so yeah,
Always good to have that familiarity from watching them in person. It's always fun to see that.
yeah,
Bobby Barrels, Robert Hassel, you picked up. I know Washington guy as well. And I can just hear Joey in my ear saying, now that someone else picked him up, he's going to be amazing.
exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
curious
that
on curious on him.
I think that did play a role in it because usually again these guys that Joey has they go somewhere else and they decide they know how to play baseball now. No, Robert Hassel. I mean, I watched him basically all last year. I think he has good energy, really good attitude. A bunch of interviews that he did, didn't have the production he wanted to last year, but seems to know how to fix it, know and be in the right headspace. Seems really, really coachable. And I just think that he just needs a little bit more time developing. And I think either later this year or next year, he's going to be someone that's getting routine starts and is, putting, like you said, barrels on the ball. Like I think he's going to be pretty good for a Nats team that hasn't really had the same lineup the past 3 or 4 games and is trying to find someone that can be consistent for him.
Definitely. Looking at the rest of your minors lineup, two names that pop out to me of guys that I've seen, especially in the WBC, Dante Nori, a guy that I know I think played for Team Italy, if I want to say.
Yep.
And then Jack Perkins, a former bot. We had him for a little bit because last year he was a guy that, again, we love these long relievers. I know Nick is not a huge fan of long reliever guys, but basically he was a guy that would come in for, and we saw it when he first got brought up, 3 innings, 3.13, and would get Ks and would get outs. And he got like the 3 inning end of the game save. And so would
Yeah.
end up with like a 15 piece, a 12 piece,
Right.
which was super nice because we could put him in, he would get us 12, and we wouldn't have to burn a start.
Right.
Now he's in AAA, unfortunately, but I saw you made that pickup, I believe, this week. So yeah, curious on
Yeah.
if you know anything about Perkins.
Yeah. No, I crazy arm. I think he can be that perfect position of eating innings. Um, I guess I don't know a whole lot about him, but what I have seen from him at least is he throws gas and he can eat innings, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Again, I don't have this traditional closer role. I don't have this that traditional spot. That's where I'm thinking that if he does get called up, he can provide points in that way, um, and be guys that can get strikeouts and not these guys that are just walking guys every inning, always some BS, always some drama. That's just not really what I've seen from him. Is that it's pretty straightforward and he has a really good arm and I think he's athletic and that was kind of the thought behind it was that he's going to continue to develop. He has the athleticism. There will be essentially at least what I've seen from no drama in that sense. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, just kind of a matter of time with him. And hey, he's a fellow Big Ten athlete. He graduated from Indiana, so
Right.
go Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking overall at your squad, I guess just as the season goes along here, I know we'll always talk trades on the pod, of course, and curious if you're a big trader. I feel like I haven't really seen any big moves from you, so curious on
Yeah.
if
Um,
you're talking to folks, if the stove is hot.
yeah, I would say the stove is at about a 4 right now, out of 10.
Gotcha.
Always open to conversations. Probably not looking to do a blockbuster at this time, but definitely open to conversations. Um, so people have my phone number. People know me. Let it rip.
Gotcha. 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 Any immediate needs or things you want to improve? I know pitching you mentioned is one of those things. Yeah, curious on like if you had anything to say to the squad out there, like, hey, I'm looking for blank, what would that be?
Hey, I'm looking for a closer. I'm looking for an immediate closer role. I know that might be hard to come by, but I think I have some hitters that would be interesting enough to have a conversation in that sense.
Gotcha.
So looking for an immediate closer role at this time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. All right, folks out there, if you want some outfielders, I feel like though that's a premium position right now. Make sure to hit up Nate. Before we go, I was texting with fellow league member Noah Simpson the other day,
Mhm.
and he mentioned an interesting potential rule change that he wanted to, I guess, posit to the group, which is to
Sure.
add another waiver claim. So right now we have five. He
Mhm.
was he was saying we should add one more, do it six. Curious of your thoughts on that, adding another waiver claim.
Yeah, at this time, I'm all for it because I think the past two uh, like waiver windows, I've maxed out. I've already done my five, so I'm all for it this time. Um, yeah, that's my answer. I'm all for it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan as well. I think that, in talking with Nick about it, I know we've talked about it generally, him and I, just he doesn't want people to, um, use claims like every day, like like on ESPN, you can do like so many, like unlimited claims sort of thing,
Mhm.
which I know makes it annoying because then it's like, guys are picking up like everyone left and right, and it's a very transient league. And the strategy of it, I get that for sure. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think like five it makes it a lot more difficult. There's always like come Sunday, you want like one more claim. Like if I could just make one more claim,
Right.
that would be nice. Just to pick up even like a minor league guy that you were eyeing. And I think if we really want to promote the minors being a thing, I think we got to add at least like one more. Maybe the one more is, yeah, you get one minor league claim a week or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be yeah. Well, one minor league that'd be awesome too. I guess in this league I don't really see. Maybe I'm oblivious to it, but I don't really see like roster churning. I guess I'm maybe not tapped into that. I don't see guys doing that. I think the one more wouldn't be a huge change to what we're doing now. Um, so yeah, I like the idea.
There you go. There you go. All right, that's the last question I got for you. But I guess anything else you want to add before we go, Nate?
Um, I I used to I was kind of running a kind of a baseball podcast before that, and or before the last couple of years, and we kind of stopped it because my buddy was kind of tired of it. But we used to run ads. We used to run fake ads, and it was the best time. It was one of the most funniest things, and everyone always told me this is hilarious. So if the podcast here wants to run some fake ads, I got some really good ideas, and
Okay.
they're always hilarious. So, but no, thanks so much for having me on, and yeah, like I said, trying to remain competitive and get to as many games as I can. Last year, I had a goal of going to 50. That was an insane goal. But I think this year the goal is going to be 30. So I got one down and going tomorrow too. So should be should be awesome. I'm already having a good time already this season. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, curious, I guess, if this is my final question. I guess, like, curious on your prediction for your team this season. Are you making the playoffs? Can we say yes or no?
we're going to say no at this time. The goal is to be. I think the last two seasons it's been two, three games below 500. The goal this year is to be a minimum of two games above 500. I think that's where my team is kind of trending at this time. Don't think we're making the playoffs, but I think we're going to remain competitive enough to not be at the bottom.
Gotcha. So you're knocking on the door. You want to be knocking on the door.
100%. And I think last year I made an improvement on that where I was maybe walking up to the door. I think this year I'm going to be knocking.
Gotcha. All right. And then yeah, 2027, you're going to be busting it down.
That's the plan at this time. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right, folks. That's been Nate. This is Keith. You've been watching the Dynasty Baseball Podcast. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.